Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Jason Cook-Studer from the Ronge Indian Band. Our department is called Pithesowiskotew, and that's how we say electricity in Cree. There is no actual word for electricity, and so it's a combination of two words. So Pithesow means bird, and iskotew means fire. So that's we talked about the Ogomal Pithesow, the firebird, the Thunderbird, and a mythological creature that flies around and creates the winds and brings electricity and lightning to the ground and starts forest fires. And that's almost what stopped me from coming here yesterday was the fire surrounding Ronge. I was at my trap line and I had my sprinklers going, and I'm trying to keep my trap line from burning. So I ran the sprinklers for about 3 hours, and then I filled it up with gas before I left, and hopefully it ran for another 3 hours. And so just our little effort that we can do to try and protect what's home. There's a lot of forests going on that are being burnt, and there's no real firefighting being done. The communities are fire smart, and there's firefighters protecting the communities and the homes, but the forest is allowed to just burn. And so that's kind of, it's a good way to rebalance what has been unbalanced, but at the same time, that's where our traditional homes is in the forest. And so it's very important for us to be out there and protecting it. So yeah, Pithesowiskotew, that's the name of our department. And all my staff, we work on energy projects. We really start with engaging with elders in the community and youth in the schools and leadership, and finding what some of the problems are that we can then address them with energy solutions. So yeah, myself, I started out before becoming an agrologist, an environmental scientist. I worked as an apprentice electrician for 2 years, and then I was a power linesman for 2 years. So I built 250 kilometers of power line and then disassembled the old infrastructure. And then I realized I didn't like climbing power poles in the winter, so I quit. I quit that job, and now I'm doing something that I love doing. I actually worked myself out of a job. So I used to do environmental science monitoring. I was skidding around and studying fish and salamanders and birds and caribou. I still study caribou, but I don't get paid for it anymore. And so I worked myself out of that role as being on the land, and now I'm a manager of this department where a lot of my time I spend writing up project proposals and talking to leadership and trying to convince them that these ideas are going to be beneficial for the community. Just go back one. So yeah, Ronge is the center community for our six. And so we have Grandmother's Bay, Hall Lake, Sucker River, Stanley Mission, and Little Red River. And they all vary, the resources they have vary spatially. Some of them are in the south, so there's agricultural lands, and some are in the north along the river. Some are along the eastern side of Lac La Ronge, as you can see from the map there. We got waterfalls, Mistoyak Falls up there. And then Hall Lake is surrounded by forestry, a lot of forest activity happening there. So the resources are varied greatly. Okay, next slide. There's me. That's a little solar panel project that we put up on a trap line. I'm also a solar technician, and I host information sessions, workshops, teaching trappers of the N8 and N9 Trappers Associations how to install some of these panels themselves. So some of the trappers then go out and they build their own 2 kilowatt system, and then they're noticing now they don't have to bring gas out, and they don't have to run their generator. Their trap line is much quieter. And so that's just one of the benefits. But that's really not my job. That's just something I do on the side. My main job as the manager is balancing all these different projects. So we got some projects related to biomass in Hall Lake. We're studying the rivers along Grandmother's Bay and Stanley Mission, Sucker River. We're looking at solar projects. We got 6 solar displays ready to go up. But yeah, I guess the big problem is we're reliant on propane and electricity that transmitted such a far distance, and the power line is not very reliable at times, especially right now. The risk of forest fire will take out that line for over a week, and then our communities will be out power. In the winter, the snowstorms can also take out the power line. And then we're without power for sometimes 3 or 4 days. And in the winter, it's worse because our elders and our youth are freezing. And so we're trying to build some resilience. We're trying to build some sustainable solutions to lower our footprints related to propane and whatnot. So we've renovated over 350 homes, and we got funding to do another 150 this year. We're looking at solar and battery microgrids, a biomass district heating project. So in Hall Lake, there's a lot of forestry, like I mentioned, and a lot of that wood is being hauled off to a sawmill. But there is lots of trees that are not going to the sawmill. They're not making its way there. And community members are concerned because every spring, those piles of wood, they're called burn piles because somebody comes in and they burn them. And so there's 10 piles, bigger than this room, and they're just going up in smoke. And the community is concerned, like, how come there's a policy where we've removed wood stoves from our homes, we're reliant on propane, and we're just burning this wood in the field? And so there's these gaps in understanding why that is the way it is. And community, they're coming to our department with these concerns. And so that's where we get this project where we could wood chip those burn piles and burn them in a community fireplace that can be districtly, we can pump the heat around to the other community buildings, lowering our reliance on the propane in the winter. So yeah, we did lighting upgrades, lighting audits on all the schools, and we're switching out fluorescent light bulbs to LEDs on all the schools and public buildings. We've created what's called energy knowledge keepers, which is connecting our elders and our youth to sustainability and clean energy. And yeah, we're looking at doing some agrivoltaics projects in the community of Little Red River. That's where a lot of our agricultural lands are. So agrivoltaics is integrating solar panels with agriculture. So if you have like a display of solar panels, it can provide shade for sheep underneath it, so the sheep can get shade under there. Or you might look at growing some shade tolerant berries or some crops underneath the solar panels, or you might arrange your solar panels in different ways where you're able to produce electricity and grow at the same time. So a little bit about that. Yeah, we get a lot of our funding for the department through Indigenous Clean Energy, Natural Resources Canada, and Indigenous Services Canada. And a lot of my staff are between the ages of 18 and 30. And so they come from backgrounds of like security and security guards, I guess, and sales and not really sustainability or energy, but through the work experience they're gaining. They're becoming energy champions in their own respect. Like they're learning how to engage in communities. They're learning how to develop these programs and relay that information back to community members. And so there's in the middle there, Jonah, one of my staff. He recently just lost like 10 cabins on his trap line. They in the summer they have a fishing camp, and so that was in Morning Lake. They just that's actually where that picture was taken, was at his trap line. And so now if you go there, it's completely leveled, all burnt. Yeah. So I'm glad I could make it here today, and thank you all.